This is probably like take 3, I guess you could say, of this, but we are finally back. This should be working well. I had to just change all the audio on my computer. I was trying something new, and, well, that went extraordinarily horrible. But we're back here. So we're going to switch on over back to the flight sim. There we go. We should actually be getting a little bit of audio coming up now for you guys, and it shouldn't sound absolutely sad. Last time there was just a lot wrong, and I couldn't figure out why. I just had to change how everything is being sent over to YouTube, and it should be better. So we're here in the 787. Everything is started up pretty much. We were actually going to taxi. That's when we noticed that there was an issue. So let me check one thing, and then we'll be on our way out. Alright, everything should be way better now. We should be good to go. So long story short, we're going over to Montego Bay from Punta Cana here in the 787. So, yes, perfect. I had to go back to the basic way of doing it. I don't understand why it was not working at all. But I got to figure that out. Something was wrong with virtual audio cable, and it wasn't doing what it was supposed to be doing. Anywho, we're going to be taxiing out now to runway 08. So releasing the brakes here, and we'll be getting on our way. Alright, taxi light is on. So thank you for all of those, all of you that were able to just hang around and come back. I appreciate that. Usually all my stuff works. We tested it and everything worked fine, and for some reason this time it just really didn't want to work at all. So don't really know why. This is going to be a nice flight over to Montego Bay though. Should land, it's probably going to be dark when we land at this rate. I wanted to take off 20 minutes ago, but unfortunately because of everything we just, we're probably going to get a sunset here while we depart. So we're taxiing down. There's runway 9 and runway 8 in Montego Bay. We'll be, or in Punta Cana, we'll be going off runway 8 here. So we're going to cross runway 9 and then be taking off runway 8. We're doing a takeoff too. Selected temperature is 63 degrees Celsius and all that stuff. We figured all that out in the previous stream that I attempted to do that just failed miserably. We can run through the before takeoff checklist. Flaps are 5. So the before takeoff checklist is complete. And put that back on ND. Now this is the beautiful thing with the 787. Believe it or not, my throttles are on idle. I'm not throttling up at all. You can see there. The N1 isn't moving at all. It's 19.7 and I am doing 25, 26 knots. This plane actually rolls on its own. So using brakes is nice. This plane will just roll. I don't have to, I just have my feet off the brakes and roll. So thank you to Quality Wings for actually getting the ground friction correct. It's very nice. How do I explain a delay like this? I don't know. What could I say? I could do what, I've got a great story about pilots causing delays. I can talk about that in while we're on our way up, while we're cruising. When I worked, because I worked for Envoy / American for over a year, and I saw some crazy delay stories. So I could probably talk about that. I've seen some pilots pull some BS with delays, and I've got a good story I can tell. Pilots, I did not like delays. I was a crew chief. So I ran flights while I was outside, and I was not happy with any of my flights taking delays, even if it's a minute. And I mean, I guess you could just say I'd lose my shit if my flight took a minute delay, because then I have to explain it. I got to write out delay reports. It's not fun. And the one day I lost my cool. I lost my shit. And so that's a good story, and we'll tell that one. Because I was not happy with that flight crew at all. And they caused a delay, and it was... They just didn't... I guess they didn't feel like flying. I don't know what their issue was, but they really did not want to fly that day, I guess, and decided, well, we're just going to take our time, take a delay, and they knew how to play the system. So, that's a good story. Anywho, we are ready to go on runway 8. And, of course, the dog is going to start barking. Landing lights can come on. Runway turn-off lights are going to be on. Taxi lights off. Strobe on. Hopefully the flight sim will just drown out that noise. I got a lot of explaining to do to this company. I got a dog up here taking delays. What the hell is this? Anywho. Throw this to 50%, let the engine stabilize. Dylan, what's up, man? Nice to see you. And Toga. Thrust is set, 80 knots. V1, rotate. V2. Positive rate of climb, gear up. Yeah, glad you can make it in time for takeoff, Dylan. Happy to have you here. And we can go flaps 1. Yeah, flaps 1 coming up here. I think for some reason there's not the... I had to change audio around mid-flight here. So we're going to get engine noises and all that kind of stuff. But for some reason I'm not hearing my FO call out the speeds and all that kind of stuff. So unfortunately I don't think we're going to have that. But that's just... that'll be okay. It won't be a big deal. We're just following that flight director. And flaps up. I love hand flying the 787, especially with my heads-up display here. I leave this thing down the entire time. I treat it kind of like how I would guess TUI would treat the heads-up display. So I know a JetBlue E190, he's a captain now, and their policy with a heads-up display was if it's available, you use it 100% of the time. You do not put it away. You don't. You have to use it. It's part of situational awareness. So I'm assuming it's probably the same way here, where maybe at cruise for long points in time you can kind of put it up. But for this short of a flight, I'm going to leave the HUD down the entire time. I think it's, at least my guess would be that they would just require it down all the time for pilot situational awareness, which makes sense. I am looking happy with this. Let's go ahead and engage the autopilot here once I can get the flight director satisfied. There we go. Autopilot can come on. And we're leveling off. I just want to climb. So we'll just altitude intervene and go all the way up to flight level 400. Beautiful evening out of Punta Cana. Another thing I love about the 787 are just the absolutely humongous displays. The pilot flying gets a huge navigation display. Obviously, the pilot monitoring gets the engine indications and a smaller display there. And I love the big one. I think it looks so cool. I love flying with it. Yeah, so there must have been an altitude constraint in there somewhere that I didn't notice. So I just cleared that out. That way we could climb. We're passing up through 10,000 here. Once we get to 10,000, we're going to go ahead and turn off all the landing lights. We'll treat this like a European airline. We'll just put the fastest seatbelt sign to auto. At least, Phil, you could probably, you could kind of touch on this for me. I'm really not sure. I know airlines in Europe. I've never been to Europe. I think they like turn all their seatbelt signs off at like 10,000 feet. I don't know. If you could let me know in the chat, I would appreciate that. I don't know how they operate. That's what I did with this one. I just pretty much left the fasten seatbelt sign on auto, and it just turned on and off at 10. Zoom out a little bit. I'm going to turn that sim audio down just a touch. Let me know if that's too loud for you guys as well. I haven't been able to check my sim audio here, so just please let me know if things need to be turned down, turned up, whatever needs to happen. I wish there was a better way that I could just know the audio, but my guess is like that should be pretty decent. Let's see here if I can actually show you the chart. I should be able to show you the chart on this like lower DU here, so you can actually see what we're doing here on departure. Let's go to terminal charts. Complete. We were on the, what were we on? GOSU2. I think it's on page down. There we go. 2 Alpha. There we go. So you can see here we took off. See, yeah, it was 3,000 there. That's why it was doing that. Although it doesn't show that to me on the chart, on my chart here, which is interesting. But in this chart here, you can see we're on our way to Papa Charlie 225. From there, it's to Gossel. And once we get to Gossel, it'll be... It's pretty much a straight shot over. Darn, Phil, that's too bad. But I truly think that they kind of like turn them on and off at 10,000. That's at least what I saw. And I was reading a post on airliners.net not that long ago, and they were talking about seatbelt signs, and a couple of people from Europe were like, why didn't the fasten seatbelt sign go off at 10,000 feet? And for some reason in the U.S., I guess it's just... I guess it's just the way the U.S. does things. At least at Southwest, we don't turn... I guess we... Southwest, they don't turn their seatbelt sign off until you reach cruise, and then they'll put it back on once they reach the top of descent. Obviously, it goes pilot to pilot. When I fly Southwest on the sim, I usually will turn it on if I've got a super long climb out. Once I get within a few thousand feet of leveling off and I know the air is going to be super smooth, I'll turn the seatbelt sign off. That way the FAs can kind of get up and start doing what they need to do. That way when you level off, the FAs are going around and just you know, going about their stuff, getting people drinks and whatnot. So I'll usually end up doing something like that. And then once you get to the top of descent, unless it's a super long descent like the ND arrival into Chicago where you descend to 10,000 feet, more than like 60 nautical miles away from the airport, then yeah, I'll go ahead and make sure the seatbelt sign is on, or off, for a little while before I turn it on here once we get into the descent. And I think... I want the weather radar. I don't know if that's a cell there I need to avoid. I gotta check that. I don't think so, but I'll probably avoid it if I can. Jamesy1324, what's up, man? Nice to see you. Glad you can make it to the stream. We're in the 787. And I don't see any returns here on my weather radar. I'm afraid this is version 1.1.2, and apparently they say they fixed this. But in previous versions, I would have... the sim would crash if I used the weather radar in this plane. So I'm kind of afraid to use it right now. So I'm trying to see if I can get a return on this cloud up in front of me here, and I'm not getting much of anything. So I'm probably just going to if I can fly around it, if I don't have to, you know, deviate around it, I won't have to. I won't. But I might use some heading just so I don't fly directly into that cloud there. It doesn't look like I will, though. It looks like I'll miss it. I love flying the 777, but unfortunately that plane probably takes the seat behind this one. I just like this plane that much more. Yeah, I'm just really afraid to run the weather radar on this plane because I know what that did last time. But in the Caribbean, you kind of have to. In other news in the climb out here, I saw Lion Air got delivered another 737 MAX. This time it's a 737 MAX 9, but it's just so sad. I saw that plane going out. I think it's... Nate sent me a picture of it. It stopped in Honolulu for fueling, and I felt so bad for that plane. You're going to go out there and just be treated so poorly by an airline that has absolutely no safety standards. And that is looking like something else is starting to form. I'm getting some blips here. Yeah, I'm getting something up there. Okay, we're gonna start deviating for weather here. I see stuff starting to build up. Let's fly a heading of 260. I'm gonna try and shoot that gap that we can see right there. But then again, I just see stuff. It's all just starting to pop up, so I really don't know what it's gonna end up doing. And that kind of bothers me. As you can see, it's just progressively getting worse. And I really don't like that. I'm going to zoom in a tad to see if I can get a better view here. Yeah, I'm going to try and shoot this gap right here. We should be able to climb around all of this, because that's obviously blowing up there off the left. Oh, that scared me. The audio paused for a second. Oh. Oh. I would have deviated to the right had I known that there was some other stuff kind of popping up, but when it doesn't show you until you're closer to it, that can kind of be annoying. But it doesn't look like anything's popping up beyond 40 nautical miles, so... Oh, there is. As you can see, it's just starting to build in here. Lovely. I think we're going to be okay, though. Looks like the worst of it is off to my right. Checking out those cloud shadows down there. Yeah, this is looking okay to me up here. Well, it was, and as you can just see, more stuff is blowing up. Yeah, I should have gone to the right. I would have done that had the weather radar actually told me that that way was better. Oh, shit. Yeah, we should have gone to the right. This is not good. This is not good at all. See, though, I'm going to continue climbing straight ahead, because over here it doesn't look... It looks like I can get around these clouds. I was kind of going for what I could see, and from what I could tell, it looked like going this way would just get me around the clouds and kind of keep me on course. But that is not the case at all. No, Dylan, not a problem. For a while, I used Ultimate Traffic Live. Thank you for asking. If you guys have questions about anything, please ask. I'm really happy to answer your questions, and gives me something to talk about. The AI I use Ultimate Traffic Live for a while. That was my primary source of traffic. Unfortunately, they don't update their traffic the way they should. Right now I've just gone over to, I found some flight plans online and found some models online, and I just went ahead and created kind of like my own. I just downloaded the flight plans off of, there was a website that had a bunch of flight plan files that they update. I want to say it was Alpha India Group, was the name of the company. And I just downloaded a bunch of flight plans off of them, AI flight plans from them, and downloaded some models, and using AI flight plan editor or something like that. I think it's AIFP, something like that, that I use to edit the flight plans with. And that's pretty much what I do. That's how I got this stuff. But I did use Ultimate Traffic Live for a while. Flight Delta Jet 7, what's up, man? Nice to see you. Glad you can make it out to the stream. Glad to have you here. But yeah, that's what I use for my AI traffic now. But Ultimate Traffic Live is really good. Unfortunately, you just have to put in the man hours. I guess so. The man hours of just going through and editing all the liveries and putting in new planes and stuff like that. Yeah, Dylan, I'm sorry. I don't have that. What I might actually end up doing is creating kind of like a how-to video on that. I know a lot of people don't exactly know how to do that, and it's actually not that hard. You just need one program for it. It's actually pretty simple. It's a few steps, and unless you actually know how to do those few steps, it's difficult to do. So, but I'll see if I can make a video for it. But that's what I use now. Ultimate Traffic Live, again, not bad. Unfortunately, they just don't update their liveries at all. Yeah, we're just flying through hell. There's stuff literally everywhere. But right here looks like a pretty decent gap. If I can just fly this straight ahead here, I'll be okay. Even though it says that there's some terrible weather, that's down here. I should be able to just fly right between those two cells there. That should be okay. I don't know why the audio's doing that, and it scares me so much. I think this is going to be my only flight tonight that I'll stream, but I may end up flying. Although, once I finish this flight, I think once I finish this stream, I'm probably just going to turn this plane around and take it back to Amsterdam. That was kind of the plan. So I'll be flying out to Amsterdam this evening into tomorrow morning. But I would definitely come up there. Yeah, Dylan, they would really do a lot better had they just actually went through and edited the liveries the way they should have been done, and I really don't think they did that. They edited some. I mean, they added the American A319s, have the new, the American A319s, A320s, and stuff like that, but they just don't. It's unfortunate that they don't take the time and actually update their liveries, because for some people they don't care, and I guess that's fine, but for some reason they just... For some people like me, I do care, and when I see airline liveries that are just totally wrong flying around me, it really annoys me. James E1324, no, I am not doing the Transcon tomorrow. I'm flying to Amsterdam, and then going to hang out with one of my buddies, and I'm probably going to stay the night at his house, so I will be gone tomorrow. So there will be no stream tomorrow, no stream Sunday. Sunday is pretty much family day, I guess you can say. We always have... my family come over to my house and we all have dinner, Sunday dinner, and stuff like that. So I will not be streaming Sunday, but I probably will be back Monday night, and most nights during the week I'll try to get some kind of stream going with some, shorter flights or whatnot. Hopefully if I can just build my community more and get more people, I'd start doing longer streams, 3-4 hour flights, and I'd stream the whole thing, but I just don't have the... It's actually pretty good tonight. I'm getting an awesome turnout, and I'm really, really, really happy for that. But it's really difficult sometimes, especially for like a 3-hour stream, to find stuff to talk about and keep things going for you guys so it's not silent. That's definitely not what I want on my streams at all. I want my streams to be interactive, and I just don't want to do a longer stream to where there's a point where it's totally... where I'm just really not saying much, and there's just crews. To me, that's not exactly enjoyable, I guess you could say. So that's the main reason why I don't do longer streams. And I kind of want to shoot the gap on the right here, but I'm afraid I'm going to fly into that. So I'm just going to fly between these two thunderheads and then go out to the right there, and we should be better. Because I'm just afraid of trying to shoot this gap here. Well, I mean, I guess I could. Just, I see that stuff, and that bothers me. Let's do it. We'll fly. I guess we'll fly heading at 290 for right now. And should be able to fly right in between this and then get back out and start kind of getting back on our flight planned course. I really wish, too, Ultimate Traffic Live, I mean, the liveries is one thing, and like myself, I install a bunch of AI planes, so I totally changed every AI plane I had, from the default Ultimate Traffic Live planes to kind of my own models that I find off of, like, Alpha India and just other model manufacturers. But, no, Dylan, thank you. I'm glad you enjoy watching for the interactiveness. That's what I want. So I'm really glad I'm glad you enjoy them for kind of what I'm intending them to be enjoyed for. But yeah, Ultimate Traffic Live was really good for if you could just edit the liveries on, but that takes a lot of time. That's just a lot of work. And for someone, if their schedules would at least be up to date, then that's fine. I would do the work once and that'd be it. And then they just release updates to their schedules and everything would be hunky-dory. But unfortunately, they don't do that. So I would put all this time and effort into editing models and getting stuff set up so, you know, my planes looked good, but then at the end of the day, the flight plans were wrong. And I would fly somewhere like, let's say Punta Cana on Southwest, and they fly to Punta Cana some days and only some days from certain cities and whatnot. And I'd fly there, and I knew there's supposed to be another flight from, let's say, Baltimore there, and there'd be nothing. Or you'd fly there and you wouldn't see any Southwest planes there at all. Or I'd fly to a newer destination that they added service to and there wouldn't be Southwest there. And that's just unfortunate. So that's why I moved away from it. Looks like this is breaking up. I'm going to go back to terrain. Because weather radar scares me. I know it used to break this plane and I really don't want to break it on a stream. So we're going to do that. And we're going to go direct to Moffer. Or no, we're going to go direct to whatever the waypoint is after that. Look here. We'll go direct to Etbod. Can execute that. And put this back on LNAV. So we'll just go direct to Etbod now. If I start seeing some weather in front of me, I'll pop on the weather radar again. But, yeah, I really don't want to touch it. It did crash on me the one time I was flying. What was I flying? I was flying to 787, I think, British Airways. From London to somewhere, and somewhere in the US, and it did crash on me simply because I had weather radar on. So I don't want to touch that again. That was like 2 versions ago. I think that was version 1.1.0, but I'm afraid won't do it. Even though it's 1.1.2 and they explicitly said they fixed that, I won't do it. I don't trust them. So right now we're flying over the, I know that was the Dominican Republic back there. I'm not 100% sure exactly what stretch of land this is here in front of me. Let's take a look here. Let me pull open Navigraph charts. We can check out and see where we are. Hopefully SimLink is working. I was having some issues with SimLink last flight. I don't know. No, SimLink isn't even working. How lovely. I can quit this. I don't need that. Navigraph SimLink. Let's load that. Hopefully that'll actually work. Let's see, is it? Well, I think it is. No flight data found on server. How fantastic. Oh well, anyways, we're going to pull this up here and we'll just check this out. So, let's see. Here we are. So I took off out of Punta Cana, which is right here, and we're now flying pretty much towards this way. So we're still on, this is still the Dominican Republic here. I don't know what this is here. I'm terrible at geography once we get out of the United States. But we're flying towards this, and then right here, Etbod. And then from Etbod, we're Uniform Gulf 633, I think the Bennett. And then we're Upper Whiskey 6 to something over here. And then from there, it's just pretty much right into Montego Bay. So we're not that far away, we're getting there. Oh, yes. Phil, thanks for reminding me. So delay stories. Yes, I do have a delay story that was just fantastic. Okay. So when I worked at Envoy, my shift, I worked mornings once night, and then when I became a crew chief, I was on nights, and then I finally got mornings. Mornings was like the coveted line, I guess you could say. If you were a crew chief and you can get mornings, that meant you had a pretty decent amount of seniority, and just mornings were better overall. Just because nights, there were so many times at night, we'd work. I worked 2:30 in the afternoon till 1 o'clock in the morning, so it was 10-hour days. So if a flight's late, if it's delayed until 2 o'clock in the morning, you're there, you're not leaving. So sometimes, there was one time I got to work at 2:30 in the afternoon and didn't leave until 8:30 in the morning the next day. So I worked literally the entire night. And just because flights were delayed, we had a big issue there. But anyway, so I was working mornings. And so morning shift, I started at 4:30 in the morning, so I'd have to be there at 4:30. So I'm up at 3 o'clock in the morning, getting ready, leaving the house by 3:30, and then to be at the airport by 4:30 to clock in. So I was there, worked my morning shift, and I was supposed to leave at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. We went to 8-hour shifts, and we worked 5 days a week. So I was supposed to leave at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and there was a Miami that came in at, I want to say 1:18 and left at 1:47. And sometimes if you were the poor bastard that didn't get put on another flight, you get stuck working Miami. So even though you're supposed to leave at 1 o'clock, you're not leaving until at least 1:47. And that's when you're supposed to be pushing the plane. So by the time you push out, disconnect everything, it's going to be 2 o'clock. So you're going to be held over an extra hour. And even though it's not a big deal, every day people were getting stuck, held over an hour. And I had already been held over and whatnot. So I was angry that I got put on Miami. So Miami comes in at like 1:14. I start working Miami, and that Miami was a crew change. It was an Embraer 145. It was almost a 2-hour flight, and they used an Embraer 145 on it, which was just terrible. I felt bad for the passengers. So we worked the Miami, and it's usually, because it's a 145 flying such a long distance, usually weight and balance is a big issue, because you're going to have to load the aircraft with so much fuel. The plane was always full. And there was always a ton of baggage, because that was a big transfer point to people going to South America. So usually our planes would be just packed to the brim with bags, fuel, and people. So there was a lot of times where we're sitting there constantly playing with the weight and balance, trying to get stuff to work, trying to add a little fuel, trying to maybe if we put a bag here, it was a constant mess. So it's annoying to deal with that when you're supposed to not even be at work anyways, and you're still there dealing with this. So the plane gets in, and there's a crew change. So the crew gets off, new crew gets on. And we're loading the plane and everything. And it's about ready to go now. So it's about 1:40. And it's in the summer, so there's sometimes you get thunderstorms along the way. So there's going to have to be reroutes. The plane gets rerouted. ATC will reroute the plane. Well, it's about like 1:30, and we actually finished early. So we got everybody off, everybody on. It was like 1:35. We were ready to go. We were ready to push like 10 minutes early. And so we're sitting there waiting. The jet bridge is not coming off the plane, and now we're starting to wonder what's going on. It's like 1:40 now, and we've been done for past 5-6 minutes, and there's no jet bridge. And the jet bridge is just sitting on the plane. It's not coming off. So we go up to the flight deck and find out they need more fuel. The captain says, we need more fuel. We're getting a reroute, and so we need extra fuel. So we got to call the fueler back over, because the fueler had already disconnected and left. So we call the fueler back over. It takes him, he's fueling another plane, so he's got to finish fueling that other plane and then come back to us. So it takes him like 8 minutes to finish fueling the plane to come back to us. Now it's 1:48. The plane's late now. So whatever, I'm unhappy because the plane's late, and now I really want to leave. I'm not even supposed to be here. The plane's late. The fueler comes over, and the pilot says, you know what? The fueler gets there and the pilot says, you know what? I actually don't need any more gas, so don't worry about it. Forget it. Okay. Well, you just called the fuel over and you took a delay now for no reason. So the fueler leaves and everything, and we're sitting there and we're waiting and we're waiting and we're waiting, and the pilot won't look at me. And all throughout this, because we thought we needed more fuel, I never disconnected the GPU. So I'm looking up at the pilots, trying to get them to disconnect the GPU. I want to get the GPU off. I want to get this plane out of the gate. I want to go home. And the pilot's purposely not looking at me. He's looking at his FMS, and then he looks over at his iPad, looks at his FMS, and I saw his eyes kind of glance over and look at me, and I did the disconnect sign with my hands, and I'm waving my hands at him. He looks at me and puts his head right back down. So I was pissed. And so now I'm angry. Because he won't disconnect the GPU. It's like 1:50 now, and you're not disconnecting the GPU. You were supposed to leave 3 minutes ago. And I'm sitting there, And I probably waited for about 3 minutes, and he finally looked back up at me, and I asked him to disconnect the GPU, and he was like, ugh. Literally all he had to do was just push the button to disconnect the GPU power from the upstairs, because he had the APU running, just to literally switch power from the GPU to the APU. So I finally threw my hands in the air like, thank God, and I think I said about fucking time, so he could see that I was annoyed. Pulled the GPU off, we're waiting, and now it's like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I don't know what the hell they're doing. And what the pilots don't understand is I may be a ramper, but I also fly stuff in flight sim. I know what you're doing, and I know when you have to redo stuff in your FMS and whatnot. And I have the headset connected so I can hear the headset. I can hear what's going on in the flight deck. They are just taking their sweet-ass time because they said they needed more gas, so the delay is going to be coded as they needed more fuel. Even though they didn't, that's how the delay gets coded. It was because of a ATC reroute, so they have to redo everything in their FMSs and whatnot, and that's how that delay gets coded in the system. So on American Airlines' end, it's not the pilots taking a delay, it's because they had to reroute stuff. Well, finally at like 2:05, it's finally time to go. I was just staring at the pilots making it noticeable that I was extremely angry, and I had someone else push the airplane out, because if I had to talk to the flight crew with pushing the plane back, I would have said something that probably would have gotten me fired. And yeah, the entire time I was just angry, made it visibly known. I was throwing shit, and it was so funny. The pilot actually called operations on me. I got inside after the flight, and the lady in operations, she goes, "Hey Dan," she goes, "What are you so angry for?" And I'm like, "I don't know, what are you talking about?" She's like, "Oh, the captain called in and said your body language, your quote-unquote body language was disrespectful." So, I don't know, we just both laughed and stuff like that. But, yeah, the pilot took a delay because he just didn't feel like flying right then and there. And then had the audacity to call Cleveland operations, and tell them that I was disrespectful to them. But that's my delay story. I throwing shit, and yeah, fun stuff. Fun times on the ramp. I've actually had pilots. It was a Trans-States E145. I actually had the pilots. I don't know how they did this, but they purposely broke their plane, so they took a delay so they could go get lunch. Yeah, exactly, Phil. Just absolute asshole. And it was fine, because our managers were there and stuff, and they were laughing, but yeah, it was such a, just annoying, like, seriously. But yes, I actually had a Trans-State guy purposely break his plane. It came in at 11-something and would leave at 12:15. And it was a Washington DCA flight, so it was a short 1-hour flight. And the crew lands and everything, and they get off, and I connect the generator, and because it was DCA, usually our noon DCA flight was really light, so for a 145 that carries 50 people, we usually had about maybe like 35 to 40 people on that flight, usually. So, usually, too, that's a business crowd, so there's not a lot of baggage in the back, so we offloaded it real quick, got everybody their valet bags, and that was that. So we're sitting there, we had the GPU plugged in, and all of a sudden, the plane just turned off. The GPU was plugged in, and you could hear, when the GPU is running, you can hear the fans, the avionics cooling fans running when you're sitting outside the plane when the APU's off, because it's not, obviously the plane just sits there, it's pretty quiet. So we were just sitting by the plane waiting for boarding to start, and all of a sudden you heard the avionics fans turn off, and from the flight deck you can hear all the bings, all the master cautions going off and everything. And they said the GPU quit working on them, which was weird because the GPU was still working and everything, but they said they weren't getting GPU power. So we had to go find them a portable GPU. We plugged that in. They said that wasn't working. And that we had to call maintenance. Well, when we have to call maintenance, maintenance just doesn't show up to the plane. It takes them a little while to actually get out to the airplane. The pilots have to call American Airlines maintenance. The American Airlines maintenance people need to talk to the pilots, and then the pilots or the American Airlines maintenance people have to call the on-site maintenance people, and the maintenance people need to come out to the plane, and they need to figure out what's going on. Well, by the time all that happens, it's like 15 minutes by the time that maintenance even is told they have to come out to their plane. And then we don't have the contract we have with the maintenance. The maintenance works on planes first come, first serve. If American wasn't actually stingy and paid more money, they could have on-demand maintenance. So kind of like what Frontier does at Cleveland. Frontier has a quote-unquote focus city in Cleveland, and Frontier pays the maintenance people extra money. So if a Frontier plane has maintenance issue and they need maintenance right now, all the maintenance people, even if they're working on another plane, will drop what they're doing and go to that Frontier plane. They are their first priority. Well, American doesn't do that. So they call maintenance, and usually it takes them 10 minutes to get on out because they're on the other side of the airfield, and if they're not working on another plane, then they have to wait until they're finished with that plane before they come to us. So the pilots go, well, let's go get lunch. So the pilots literally left to go get lunch. The maintenance people came on, reset the plane, and we're like, I don't know what the problem was because everything's fine. And then we had to go get the pilots, and the pilots were pissed because it only took the maintenance people like 5 minutes to fix their plane. So I don't know what they did, but the next plane that came in, the GPU off the jet bridge, worked fine. So I am convinced that the pilots purposely like deselected the batteries and deselected the GPU for a second to make the plane kind of break itself to the point that they have to call maintenance. The plane ended up taking a delay. It didn't leave until like 1-something. But yeah, they ended up taking a delay on maintenance when I truly believe that the pilot just broke it purposely. I've had a lot of pilots break stuff. I had the one day some pilots in the winter. This is pretty much, I could just sit here and talk about stories from the ramp. I've got tons of them. So when you work the ramp here in Cleveland in the winter, it gets cold. There were days where the wind chill was minus 20 Fahrenheit, and at night it would get down to like minus 10 Fahrenheit, so it'd be cold at night. So when the plane came in at night, it has potable water, which is what the water is used for washing your hands, and so the flight attendants can make coffee and all that kind of stuff. That's all that water. It's potable water, and it's our job to make sure the planes are filled with potable water. Well, when the plane sits overnight and it's so cold, the plane can't keep that water warm, so usually we'll dump it. So what we'll do is we'll just open up the panel and dump all the water out. We'll dump all at night we dump the lavatories anyways in all the planes, and we just won't fill them up with that blue juice in the lavatories until the morning. So what we did was at night in the winter, obviously we dump all that. So that's what we did. And we got there in the morning, except for mainline planes. Mainline planes, we didn't have to dump the potable water, because the potable water, I guess, in mainline planes, however they're designed, the potable water stays warm. It doesn't freeze. So we get there in the morning. It's the first Charlotte flight, and the first Charlotte leaves. On that schedule, I think the first Charlotte left at 6 a.m. So if we got there at 4:30, 6 a.m., our first flight was a 5:20 Charlotte PSA. So at 5:20, that flight would go out, and then there'd be a 6 o'clock flight. So we get over to the 6 o'clock flight, and the pilot gets on the plane and says, the potable water's frozen. We can't go anywhere. So we go, that's weird, because they had the potable water, and it was fine last night, but whatever. So we have to dump the potable water. Well, we go to dump the potable water, and the handle's frozen. The handle won't come out so we can pull it to dump all the water out. So I'm sitting there with a hot with a heat gun, and the gun gets, you know, hot. It can get hot over a couple hundred degrees Fahrenheit. So I've got this thing pointed at the handle, and I'm trying to warm this handle up as much as I can. It's windy, it's snowing, and I got my hot air gun on this handle, and I can't get it. I cannot get this handle. So I'm sitting there for like 10 minutes with this hot air gun just on the handle of this Airbus. And I'm not doing anything, so I'm just sitting out there in all my layers. It's cold, it's -10, it's windy, snowing. I'm holding this thing. And finally I get, after like 20 minutes, I finally warm it up enough so I can pull the handle. So the water starts coming out. The only problem is the spout that the water cup starts coming out freezes. So now that's frozen. So now I got my hot glue gun on the water spout, the little out tube that comes out, trying to unfreeze that. So, yes, Phil, it's a bootlegged laser gun, pretty much. And so I had it, and finally I got that. It took like a half hour, so now it's 6:30 in the morning, and the flight's delayed 30 minutes. I can't work my flights. Everybody else is trying to pick up the slack from me not being able to work my flights because I'm on this Airbus, just trying to, with a hot air gun, essentially, trying to warm it up. Finally get all the potable water out, and the pilot goes, I actually want boiling water in my plane, not any of that water you guys put in. That's a ridiculous request because I can't give you boiling potable water. That's not how that works. It's literally a water hose that comes out of a spigot that I hook up and put into your plane. It's hose water, essentially. I can't give you boiling hot potable water. And so, well, he says, well, then I want maintenance on my plane. Maintenance gets on the plane, and they come back and they tell me, believe it or not, the water was never frozen to begin with because I didn't get all the frozen water out because it had frozen again. There was still water in the plane. It worked. The pilot just didn't want to leave. It was too early. That's seriously why he didn't. The plane was not, the water was not frozen. We did actually write a complaint on that captain, and he actually got, I guess, somewhat in trouble. It's not his first time he's done something like that. So he delayed a plane an hour and 10 minutes just because he felt like it. So pilots, believe it or not, every time, sometimes when your plane's delayed, you would not be surprised. Do not be surprised if it's actually the pilots playing some bullshit. Because they will, and I've seen them do it. Which I think is, to me, I just think that's shitty. That's not, your job is to fly the plane, man. I don't care that it's 6 o'clock in the morning, you bid on this trip and you took it. And I think that's really sad, but some pilots do it, unfortunately. They do. I'm gonna take a sip of water here. Mouth's getting all dry. It's a nice sunset here. Well, I guess somewhat of a... Where's the sun? I think the sun's supposed to be over there, but there's actually no sun. What? I gotta figure that one out. There's no sun in my sim. There's no sun. It should be right over there because you can see the lens. I think that's lens flare is what that is. It should literally be right there, but I don't see it. What the hell? That's trippy. I gotta figure that out. There's no sun. It should, like I said, be right there. And it's not. That's weird. I wonder why there's no sun. But yes, those are some stories from the ramp. Yes, fly Delta jets. Yeah, I think we have to divert. Sun's gone. Extended weekend. Yeah, that is so weird. I've never seen that before. What? How does that even happen? The sun went out. The world's gonna end here. I guess that is how it ends. The sun just goes away and all of a sudden it starts getting really dark. And yeah, total rip. I can show you guys the arrival into Montego Bay while we're here. Our top of descent's coming in here, probably about 160 nautical miles away. Just go to airports here. Have to load up Montego Bay. It's going to download the charts really quick for us. All right. We are on the Oxman 4. I'm going to put this in the night because I just think it looks way too bright for the stream. We're taking the ILS runway 7. So we are coming off of, I want to say, Senla. Oh, so off of Senla, we fly to Almas at 50 miles out of Sangster VOR. We have to be at or above 15,000. We fly direct to Sangster. Then we fly out to 11 miles, make a left-hand turn towards Omaxi. And then from there we go to Anapa into the ILS. So we're transitioning over from Omaxi, Anapa, and then into the airport here. We're going to be landing on runway 7. It's only 8,700 feet long. We're going to do auto brake. I'm going to use auto brakes 3 because I want to try and make Bravo. And we'll come off on Bravo and we'll park at one of the heavy gates, whatever heavy gate I can find would be good. Phil, yes, I was able to actually fix the auto gen. Something just happened with FTX Global. I went ahead, there's actually a really nice thing inside of Orbx, the FTX Center. You can do something called like verify file integrity. And I went through and did that, and I just found that it was, for some reason, just missing a file. Something must have gotten weird. I reinstalled it. I actually just ran that. It reinstalled the files that needed to be installed, and it's fine. The auto gen is back to the way it should be, so I'm really happy about that. The textures are way better, as you can see. The textures are all loading in properly. It's not, they're not blocky, I guess. So they definitely look better. I was able to fix that. Now I got to try and figure out why there's no sun. That's just super weird. I'm going to see if I can get some lights going here. I got to remember how to do lights on this plane. I think it's down here. There we go. Let's put that on. I think that works on his end too. Can't remember. Yeah, it does. Lights up his end. Let's light up the overhead. Overhead panel. Glare shield. Let's come down here. Put that on. Alright, now we got some backlighting going on. Let's see, do I want to toss some floodlights in? Nah, I'm good with floodlights for right now. So we are, let's see where we are. Almost to Bennett. If we go back to here. Bennett's out there, so yeah, this is just the tip here of whatever this is. MTJA, let me see what that is. That's weird. MTJE, maybe? Huh. For some reason doesn't have airports for that. I'm going to try clicking on that to see if I can actually get it. Oh, it's Haiti. That's Haiti. Yeah, for some reason I actually cannot get... Let's see if MTPP works. Yeah, there we go. Well, that's Port-au-Prince. Yeah, I'm definitely looking at doing some other stuff here. I think, I know there's some Norwegian Air 737 flights I think I could do that would look cool. They fly in and around here, and just some more 787 stuff. I'm really trying to bring a lot of different airplanes and a lot of different, I guess, not liveries, but different, just different airlines into the sim here, so you guys can watch it. It's not always the same thing over and over and over again, because I know how boring that can get. Alright, so we should have all that set up here. Let's actually check out what the weather is in Montego Bay. So I can't do it on my side. I have to do it on the captain's side here. Probably because this plane's not meant to be flown from the right seat, but I do it anyways. If we go to COM, company, weather request, let's request weather for MKJS. And we're going to send that. Okay, current weather now, winds are 100 at 3. Few clouds, 2,200. Temperature 26, 2.23. QNH 1016. We will see, or correction, 1014. I don't know where I got that from. So I got that set there. And we're going to, again, be arriving on the ILS runway 7. So that's good. Put that back there. And we'll set this. We'll do auto brake 3. And I also want to see here, if I go back to my weather radar, am I able to change? Yeah, I can actually change the gain, which is really nice. I like that. All right. Wow, MTJA. 6th business airport in Haiti now lacks airline service. That's disappointing. It should be kind of like over here somewhere, I guess. I also saw a new product that looks really amazing. This would require me to get like an entirely new, just an entirely new, like solid state drive. I would need like a 2 terabyte solid state drive. But if you've actually seen, I gotta pull it up here on the Orbx website. Bring that over there. Drop this down. It was Orbx True Earth. Yes, this right here. I cannot wait until they do this for more places. I almost want to get this because I can fly TUI into TUI into like Amsterdam and stuff. If you have not seen what True Earth Netherlands is, it is so cool. What it does is it takes autogen and they put all sorts of, or not autogen, it takes photoreal scenery and puts autogen on top of the photoreal scenery, and it's for the entire Netherlands region. It looks so good. Oh my god. So right now they only have Netherlands, but this right here, definitely the future of flight sim. I could definitely see in a few years being this just be a standard for how Orbx Global became the standard and stuff like that. I definitely think this is going to become a standard for flight sim. I think it'll be one of those things where you kind of, you would have to select region by region. Obviously, I mean, if you wanted to do the entire globe after they develop the entire globe, that could be a thing. But I would definitely say that you could probably select regions like America or Canada or that kind of stuff, and you know, just install those regions. Now, of course, having something like this is great, but yeah, there's this large thing right here that says, where was it? I gotta find it here. Yes, this product requires at least 200 gigabytes of free disk space for installation. The final installed size is 76.5 gigs. That's a lot of space. You would definitely need about like 2 terabytes to get somewhere like the United States in there, because that is huge. However, this looks awesome. I want to get it so much just to kind of show it off, but I don't have the space. I actually do not have the space on my flight sim hard drive for it. Now I do have an extra, I have a solid state drive, 2 terabytes. That's where I actually keep all my flight sim recordings and all my channel stuff. So I would definitely probably end up putting something like that. If I could put it onto there, that'd be great, but I just don't have the, this space in my computer for it. I want it so bad, but I can't. It's actually not that bad price. It's only 50 something Australian, which ends up coming out to be like, I think 30 something US dollars. Let me pull that back up again. Let me see. Closed. Yeah, it was only, so it's only $39.62 in terms, yeah, $39.62. It's essentially 35 euros, and the British pound, it's essentially 31 pounds. That's not bad at all. And $54.95 for all you Aussies out there. But yeah, it looks cool. I cannot wait to see something like that come for more, because that looks, oof, that's gonna be amazing. 80 miles away from our top of descent here. Trying to think what I can kind of what else here I can kind of show you. The 787, though, this version of the 787 is really, really, really nice. Frame rates, I can tell, are a lot better. The night lighting is even better. I can kind of show you the panel lighting here. They use the, not True Glass. I forget what it's called. Yeah, see the dome light can come on, and that's nice. I gotta remember what it's called, because I don't remember. I don't remember what it's called. It's not True Glass. It's, shit. I don't remember. But either way, they use that for the lighting in this plane, the cockpit lighting, and it's nice, really. I'm trying to say something other than, like, it looks absolutely awesome, because that's what everybody says, and that's the most annoying thing, because it really doesn't give you any... It doesn't do anything. Everybody says that. So I definitely wanted to say something, you know, a little bit different. I'm trying to figure out how I can get... Storm? No, I don't want that. I want lights over here, and I don't know where to get that. Real light. Thank you, Fly Delta Jets. Appreciate that. Real light. Yeah, see, that does that, and that does... That's the brightness for those. It's a map light. Darn, I can't figure out how to get that. It's not that. It's not that. It's not the storm light. That's the glare shield light. I don't know. Anyway. Real light looks fantastic. I was in Amsterdam. I got so excited. Oh my gosh, yesterday when I was in Amsterdam. I forgot that this had True Glass. And the planes I pretty much always fly don't have True Glass, so I'm almost always on the CRJ, or I'm almost always flying the 737. So I don't get any True Glass at all. And I forgot that this had True Glass, and it started to sprinkle in Amsterdam, and I saw rain on my windscreen, and oh my gosh, I got so excited. Oh, I wish I could have gotten that on recording, because I was like, oh my god. Oh, I was so happy. I want that to get into night mode. Actually, we can look at... I can kind of set up the stars so you can see it. So if we go back to... and I get to... Yeah, Nate was there. He was able to see it, and he saw me just freak out. I got so excited. So I want MKJS here. There's got to be a way. If I just scroll down, maybe? Oh, MKJS right there. OMAXI 4. Yeah, so I'm coming off here. I don't like how it shows everything, because that just looks like a total cluster. I guess I could just set up the ILS runway 8. So you can actually see me here, as well. You'll see me come over the airport and then come around to land. ATIS is 127.9. Again, I'm not on VATSIM or anything like that, so unfortunately there won't be anything. The ILS decision height is, I think, 200 feet. I gotta check that really quick here. It's not showing it on that chart. The decision height's 300 feet, actually. I'm gonna key that in while we're here. So it's actually 300. If I could change that, no. I think I may have to do it on the captain side only. Yeah, the captain side worked. The FO side doesn't work. So it's going to be 300 on the radio altimeter. There we go. We've got that set. Let's see how much fuel we're going to have upon arrival. Here, if we go to our Prague page, it's showing us in with 5.7. We've got 6.7, which means we're going to burn 1,000 pounds. So we can set this to 148.6. I get that to come over? I guess not. Will it work here? There's some things, unfortunately, on this thing. It doesn't work on the right side. Yeah, it just doesn't. You can't place it in. Oh, well. We'll just do this. Flap 30 VREF is going to be 132. Whoa. That changed a lot. What was it before? I don't like that at all. There we go. 132. So Flap 30 VREF is going to be 132. Again, I don't know if that is automatically figuring out what my gross weight is going to be upon landing by figuring out how much fuel I'm going to burn before I get to the airport. But in most the planes I know, you can just type in a new gross weight and plop that in there, but for some reason it doesn't work. We'll be doing a wind correction of +5 knots, so I'm happy with that. So our V approach is going to be 137. Again, what was that weather? I forget what that weather was. Yeah, 100 at 3, so there's no reason to do anything more than +5. As you can see, we're approximately, I'm going to zoom my range in a little bit here, we're probably about 30 miles away from top of descent. The lowest altitude on the star is going to take us down to right here, I think, or at least here it's showing us 3,000 at or above, so that's what I'll set in. Okay, I've got that set to 3,000. And auto brakes 3. Yeah, Nate, that VREF is really low, but I'm super light because I don't have a lot of gas. And this plane is kind of heavy. I think I have 222 people, but that's about it. I didn't take cargo, so I have my plane really light. And believe it or not, the wings on this plane are just that good at producing lift that I can fly at pretty slow speeds. I'm surprised the earth hasn't blown up yet, considering the sun is just gone. Alright. I'm glad that storm didn't kill us either on the departure. I really thought going to the left, the weather radar looked good. There was a little gap. I was just going to go to the left and just fly back on course. The reason I wanted to go left is because I knew the route kind of took me off to the left a tad. So I'm like, oh yeah, go to the left. That way you can just kind of go direct to your next waypoint. And then I realized that left was the total wrong way to go. I wish it kind of drew stuff on the weather radar further than 40 nautical miles, because I kind of need that to plan. And that right there really didn't help me. And then, let's see. There is Jamaica. So if we look down to the left there, my chart here would not absolutely kill itself. And it's going to kill itself. So if we look, if we go back here, let me take a look and see what's around. I don't know why this just is refusing. I'd like to see my en route chart, please. No? Okay. That's just not going to work. If we look off to our left there, in that little bay there, what airport is that? That's Kingston, Jamaica. Is down in that bay there. I was thinking about flying, American does fly Miami to Kingston in the 738, and I think that would actually be a cool flight to fly. So I may end up doing that one of those days, down to Kingston there. Coming up on our top of descent, we should be descending a few seconds here. I am really looking forward to when Quality Wings releases their 787-10. That'll be a cool plane. That -10 looks really cool. I also want to fly, there's a route, Air Tahiti has the 789s. And I think, I can't remember correctly if there's a really good Tahiti scenery. I think there is. And fly Tahiti to LAX. That'd be cool. I know United flies Tahiti to, it's either San Francisco to Tahiti or it's LAX to Tahiti that United does. To pretty much straight up compete with them. Alright, there's our top of descent. Coming out of 40,000 here. I want to try flying the 717 as well, but last time I tried to do it, I had some frame problems with it, and I think it was because I didn't have there's some way you can set it up to select the GPU for the processing of the flight displays or something like that. And I just think I didn't do that correctly, so I should be coming back with the 717 here soon. That's a fun plane. See you, Dylan. Have a good night. Thanks for stopping by. You'll be able to catch the rest of the arrival on YouTube here. It'll go up to YouTube once the stream is over. All right. Actually, I'm going to do a little descent here. I'm going to get the outside views for the descent. Hoping that's just not total ear rapage. Alright, that was fun. Alrighty. We got everything set. Actually, the one thing I forgot to check was the transition level into transition levels, actually flight level 180, which is good. And if I remember correctly, they actually finally modeled a descent page. A descent forecast page. So if we go to VNav, yeah, there's actually a descent forecast. So I can set the transition level as 18,000. I think it's going to default to that, but I'll put that in. And if I actually had the flight plan in front of me with winds, I could actually input the winds. The request button doesn't work, unfortunately, but you could technically do it. So if we go to the checklist, the descent checklist, we'll run that here. So the recall is checked. I'm going to put that actually up here. Checklist. The recall is checked. The notes are checked. Auto brakes 3 set. Landing data VREF is going to be 132. Minimums are 300 feet on the radio altimeter. That's checked. And the approach briefing is complete. Descent checklist is complete. We'll run the approach checklist once we get through 18,000 feet. I'm going to get down and move his page to something else. There we go. That way it's not the same page. And I know there's a way too that you can actually set it up. If you're actually flying on VATSIM, you can request METARs and stuff like that, so they actually show up here. It's in a little different function of the FMS. If you go into COM, there's also a section here called Flight Information. You can do an ATIS request off of VATSIM. As you can see, it won't work here. But if I was actually on VATSIM, I can request this, and I can select in-route airports, departure airports, all that kind of stuff here just by on VATSIM. If we go to company, we have a departure report, so we can actually see. I wish there was a way you could tell it what pilot took off. But you'll see an out time and off time. You can see how long it took me to try and fix the audio issues we were having. How much fuel was on board when we departed. And takeoff N1 setting, takeoff flaps, all that kind of stuff, which is really cool. You can also set up a reminder. I don't know exactly how that works. Actually, let's set one up because I don't know how it works. We'll do one at altitude at 30,000 feet. I think that's 30,000. It's 3,000. And I'm going to see what that actually does. I'm looking for a W and I can't find it. So let's see, when we go through 30,000 feet, I want to see actually what happens here. Oh, it just says altitude reached. Crew reminder, 30,000. Let's see if it actually gives us something here. I'm going to put this back on CDU. I'm going to see if a little reminder actually pops up. I'm curious to see how it works, if it's going to do a little like bing bong message and actually get a reminder, or what it's going to do. Yeah, nothing really happened. I think because we had already reached it or something like that, so I thought they would be a lot cooler. I thought I'd get a little bing bong and the plane would ask the stream how everybody's doing, but that didn't work. Oh well. Let's see. We're gonna reset that. Yeah, but you can see you can set up little reminders, which is nice and cool. And you can review reminders. I think. Yeah, exit menu. Okay. I was messing around with it. I had, I don't know, 8 hours of flying time to actually get down to Punta Cana, so I was jacking around on the flight deck looking at different stuff. It'll be cool though. We're going to overfly the airport. If I actually put this on data, I'm going to see. Yeah, it shows us what altitude we're supposed to be at, which is nice. Put this back on terrain. Let me go into the fix page. I'm going to put a fix around Sangster VOR, which is SIA, and that's going to be a distance of /15. And now we should have a little range in there. So 15 nautical miles, there's that one. We have to be at or above 15,000, and the next one was 11 miles. Plop that in there. Now I've got 2 range rings set around there so I can see where we're actually supposed to start turns and actually make sure everything is running the way it's supposed to. And I am going to put that in there, just so you know, at 5,000 feet, just for you, Phil. I am putting that in the reminders. Communications, flight info, what was it again? Company reminders. Altitude 5,000. I don't know why it says altitude reached 5,000. That's not right. We didn't reach 5,000. Well, maybe we did because we're above it. I'm going to set it at a certain waypoint to show up. 5,000 feet, we should be approximately 11 miles-ish. So what is that 11-mile waypoint in here? Tango Romeo 280. So let's do that. So it's going to be waypoint Tango Romeo 280. And what is the message I want it to be? Dinner with Stan and Cheryl at 7. Okay. I don't know if it's all going to fit in there, but we're going to try it. Dinner with Stan and Cheryl. Oh, I'm out of space. I'll just do dinner with Stan. We're going out to dinner with Stan. So there we go. When we get to that waypoint, hopefully it'll actually come up and say we're supposed. Oh, I spelled dinner wrong. Isn't that nice? I'm gonna do dinner. Oh, I'm gonna do the W/ Stan and CHERYL. Yes. Shit, I forgot the space, but whatever. You get it. Okay. Let's actually see what that does. It's supposed to work, hopefully. Hopefully at that waypoint, I'm going to get a message that tells me I'm having dinner tonight. This is the stupid shit that happens on my streams when I've got nothing else to do and I'm just descending. So that's a new thing. When we fly the 787, for those of you that remember, I am going to take requests in the chat to have something pop up at a certain altitude, and I'll put that in my reminders. I will do that just for fun. So it says we're supposed to be at or above 15,000 at that waypoint there, and I don't know. That's, yeah, okay. I guess we're going to hit it at 15,000 feet, because we were looking like we were really close to, like, being way below that, but I guess not. Actually, I'm gonna stop being a bad boy and actually center my heading bug, because I know you're like supposed to keep that centered or something. 6,900 feet, no nut November. Oh god. I would do that, but I have a feeling it's not gonna pop up at 6,900 feet. Because whenever I put something in this this thing here at 6,900 feet, if for some reason it will not work. Let's see. Oh darn! If I was I could set that in there for 6,900 pounds of fuel. I will remember that. I will put that in my notes, and I will set that up as a reminder. And hopefully next stream, you guys remember to watch for it passing 6,900 feet. Beautiful. You heard the pen click off, so you know I actually wrote that down. Yes, check back next week on one of my streams and I'll slip that in there somewhere. If I fly the 787, which I kind of plan on doing. But I actually do, like I said, I fly Delta Jet 7. I do want to fly Norwegian Air into like Biwi or something like that. The only thing that worries me is it's going to be a long flight and I don't know how I'm going to do that. I might just make it a video. I might just do that. Just make it a video. So we're coming through flight level 180 now. Once we do that, we'll switch over to the QNH of 1014. You can see Montego Bay, I think, is right behind that cloud there. This is the stuff you get with me. If you actually watch my flight sim videos, you can request some random ass shit like that, and I promise you I will do it. Just because it's gonna be fun. It's just gonna be fun. We're coming up on 15 miles away. I was actually smart. I brought 2 water bottles with me because I've already gone through one just from talking for the past hour and 20 minutes. On to water bottle number 2. And there's 1014. Got that set. Right. Coming up on 15. Yeah, he's actually right behind that cloud. That's kind of disappointing because that would look really cool. I'm going to go outside really quick again. Hopefully this doesn't break your ears. Oh, that's so purty. Yes, I am a thirsty boy. Thirsty for water. Thirsty boy. And there's 15000. Bingo. You hit that right on the mark. I want to look for this airport. It's going to be like right up in front here. It's going to look dope as shit, but I can't find it. Ah, there it is. I also remember people saying that this plane, for some reason, they think it looks cartoonish. Honestly, I think this is probably the best modeled airplane I've seen in Flight Sim. I haven't looked at the 747-8 simply because I refuse to buy that, because fuck PMDG. But, yeah, this plane I think looks so great. Hello, sir. How you doing? How you doing, Judge? If you know what movie that's from, that's great. My bladder will be okay for the stream, I can tell you that. Oh, we need speed brakes hardcore. We need some hardcore speed brakes. And we're going to put this back on CDU. Alright, enough fun with that. I also have to turn this back up because I know I turned it down a touch when I went outside. Oh yeah, this thing is just over-speeding like crazy. That's the only problem with this plane, is it doesn't, I have noticed, and it's just something with the VNAV, and I guess I really should have paid more attention, I really wasn't. It will keep descending to follow the profile, even if that means over-speeding the airplane. So it's going to descend as much as it possibly can to meet the profile. It doesn't care about speed, at least from what I can tell, and I don't know why. The 7.3 would do its best to follow the profile and follow the speed, and it would follow the speed before it followed the profile. This appears to follow the profile before it follows speed, so I do find that a little weird. Beautiful evening, though, with no sun. So we've got the speed brakes full open while it's descending. Hopefully it gets down and kind of slows down. I think it's going to be at that... It wants to be at that waypoint at 40... Essentially 4,900 feet. And when we get there, the plane should remind us that we have dinner with Stan and Cheryl. Hopefully. It'd be great if it would just pop up right here. It'd be like a new form of text messaging. Just put a reminder in. That way you know when you're descending, you get a reminder that you gotta, like, go out to dinner with somebody. You just can't put a reminder in to, like, be like, this captain's a freaking douche. Why is the audio doing that? That scares me. As you can see, here we are on the chart. Make that left turn, come back around for the ILS. Alright, speed's looking better. We are pretty much on profile. Okay, we're doing okay now. I'll just keep those speed brakes open. Why is that audio doing that? God. It just scares me so much. Put the speed brakes down now because I can hear the engines coming back in. See, it says COM. Alright, let's see. If I click on COM, new messages. Dinner with Stan and Cheryl. That's fantastic. Oh, it says it needs speed brakes again. How lovely. Okay, I should probably pay attention to what the hell's happening here. We're going to go back over here to checklist, run the approach checklist. Altimeters are set. And that's going to be the landing checklist. So I don't understand why it's attempting to go faster. I don't want it doing that. Just slow down. That's all I want you to do. Phil, I didn't realize that the pilots would actually do that in the Majestic Dash 8. That's a plane. I just don't know that plane. I have no idea how to fly that plane, and if I tried to, I would fail miserably. So I just don't. I know what my limitations are, and I'm also flying through a cloud. Put on approach. We're also going just fast, but that's okay. We still got some time. We got about 10 miles to go. I'm going to take the auto throttles out. I have the airplane with that. Flaps 1. Yeah, unfortunately, you're not going to hear, like I said, the sounds, just because I had to change the sounds in the middle of the flight. So you're not going to hear, like, the flaps, the handle going back, but it's going. All right, so I'm going to put the speed brakes back down here. I'm going to come back. What did I say my VREF was going to be? 137 is my V approach. That's what I'll set. All right. Everything's looking good. Let's take the autopilot out. And again, like I said, you're not going to hear the plane freak out because the audio is a little screwed up. That's okay. Yes, Fly Delta Jet 7. This guy's looking dope. A little PTA never hurt. All right, and I'm just going to follow the flight director now down. I'd really like to slow down here. Let's go flaps 10, or gear down flaps 10, or 15, sorry. Flap 20. And really all I'm doing is just focus on following that. Let's get some lights on here. If I remember correctly, this is actually an offset. It's offset a little bit. So I'm going to just go visual now and take all this off because that will actually not take you directly to the runway. And we're going to be visual. So let's go flaps 25. And we can go flaps 30. Just slowing down. Like I said, we're trying to get back to about 137. Can run the landing checklist is complete. Alright, there we go. I'm happy with that. Start putting that power in a little bit. A little bit of trim. So there's minimums. We're landing. $100. 50, 40, 30, 20, 10. Welcome to Montego Bay. All right. That wasn't bad. It was weird not having my altitude callouts. I called them out for myself, but that was kind of weird not having those. So, not bad. I'll take it. I don't do the whole floating, trying to set it dead. Just, I land the plane. Anywho. Alright, let's get these lights set. Let's get the speed brakes up. 5. Make the right turn here. And we're going to go to heavy gate. I don't know exactly what gate we're going to be going to, but I'll just select GSX, and if it says a gate's a heavy gate, that's where we're going to go. Oh, it says 0 suitable parkings. How fantastic. Let's see. I'm assuming they'd probably use a gate with a jetway. It's probably because they don't have the radius set up correctly for these gates. So I am going to just look for a gate that has something. Phil, yes, that is a very great song. Little Beach Boys there. I'd love to play that on my stream, but then that'll just take that and totally destroy my copyright. Not like I care, but I figure if I could not break a copyright, I won't, I guess. I don't know. I'm going to look for a gate here, because GSX is just declining to let me park anywhere. I think I'm going to use the end gate right there. To me, that looks like that would be a heavy gate there. So that's what we're going to do. The gate right there. Really could have used those. Alright, the gate is... the line looks right there. Again, I don't need those, and... where's the line? There's the line. We're just going to park ourselves. Screw GSX, I don't even like the program to begin with. Well, that wasn't total trash, even though... wow. Don't follow those parking lines. Don't follow those parking lines. Things do not end well. I don't even care. Set the brakes. Can I get parking brakes, please? Parking brakes, anyone? There we go. Oh, what a mess. Who cares? Who cares? Alright, I totally forgot to start the APU as well. How lovely. I'm dealing with too many things. So we're going to start the APU now. We're going to put this down to systems. Go to stat. That should be coming up here. I'm going to go ahead and kill the right engine. Keep the beacon running because we still have an engine running. Yeah, I don't know who decided to park the jetway like right there, but that's really not smart at all. Lol. That's good. Logo, we're going to leave all that on. We're just waiting for number 1, or the APU to turn on, then we're going to turn number 1 off. Yeah, it's really kind of sucky when they don't put in heavy gates. So when you take your plane here, you have nowhere to really park, and you got to try and make a gate work, and then you do something like that, and blah. Yes, I will blame Alan. That's exactly what I will do. Damn it, Alan. Alright, APU is running, so we can go ahead and kill the left engine. That's going to come off. The fast seatbelt sign is going to come off. And we can go ahead and turn those off. 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 Beacon off. Alright. Connect some external power. Oops. I don't want that door open, but oh well. Close you. And Control J is not working. Oh, talk about those noises. There you go. Well, we made it. We didn't... well, we kind of died at the end, but we're not going to look at that. So, anyways, we made it. We didn't die. So, I'm very happy with that. We're set there again. You can hear the noises are a little screwed up, but that's okay. Anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this one. I appreciate you guys coming out and supporting the stream. Really makes me happy, makes my night, and I'm glad I could provide you guys with a little entertainment. So, until the next stream or next video, have a good night, and I'll see you guys later. Take care.